playing video games is the least attractive male hobby. Half of gamers are female.
If there's nothing wrong with me, maybe there's something wrong with the universe.
What's up, space pirates? This is your Admiral, the mercifully merciless Dr. Disaster, and I never get tired of winning against the jackasses aligned against dudes who just want to play video games.
If it's a whoopin', you're a wantin'.
It's hilarious to see talking points like this one come out where these feminists brag that actually women can't stand males playing video games to the point that they rank it as the least attractive male hobby. This is used as a cudgel to club men over the head and get them in line. But these sorts of people won't question it at all when someone then tries to assert that actually half of gamers are women, so that's why we have to realign the gaming industry to accommodate women. And frankly, something needs to be broken in your brain to try to assert these incompatible views. And the truth is that these studies here put grandma playing Candy Crush on her phone in the waiting room of her doctor's office in the same category as the dude who just spent a couple grand on his new PC rig.
That doesn't make sense.
No, it's pretty nonsensical, but gamers are scoring some wins in this category. The news has come out, Shift Up has just announced that their game, Stellar Blade, is the best-selling single-player game on PC that has ever been released under the Sony umbrella. This is total vindication for all of us out here who have asserted correctly that gaming is primarily a masculine hobby. Obviously, female gamers exist. Some of them watch my channel even and comment on my videos, and I think that's super cool. They're welcome here, but female gamers are the vast minority, and as evidence that gamers are not made up of these feminist dopes, just look at how Stellar Blade is viewed by these game journalists, calling everyone who loves the game gooners. They see people enjoying an attractive female character who doesn't look like an unwiped a-hole, and their response is, yeah, game journalists appear to be pretty upset that Stellar Blade is so successful, because look here, immediately after Shift Up made their announcement, this was the response from the likes of IGN, trying to discredit Shift Up's claims and make it seem like it's not a big deal. Game journalists are in a bind here though. Deep down, they cannot stand Stellar Blade and what it stands for, but they've made half-hearted attempts to try to claim it as their own in the past year and a half since the game came out because it's so successful. But clearly, based on how they are receiving the news that the game is well received, they are none too happy.
I'm chalking this all up to female menopausal situations.
Alright, me hearties, make sure that you hit the like button on this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I've had a lot of people tell me that they have been unwillingly unsubscribed to the channel almost every day. I hear from someone who says they didn't believe me when I talked about this phenomenon, but then they noticed that they themselves were unsubbed from the channel. I don't know why it happens, but I hear this a lot, so look into it. I will be making this portion of my videos skippable by making it into a chapter on the video timeline moving forward, but I do need to keep saying this because the amount of people telling me it happens to them is unbelievable. But anyways, let's dive on into what is being said about Stellar Blade. We've got a lot of information to cover here, so let's dig in. This article is from Insider Gaming, which says at the bottom, every new update on Stellar Blade seems to suggest that the game has defied all expectations. Now, it's understood that Stellar Blade has beaten out Ghost of Tsushima, God of War, Marvel Spider-Man, and others to be the best-selling PlayStation exclusive on PC. Stellar Blade news has been coming thick and fast recently. A Stellar Blade sequel is confirmed to be in development, and the bombshell was dropped that Stellar Blade is going multi-platform. The original game was a success on launch and continues to escalate in terms of popularity and sales, and just think how many copies this next Stellar Blade game is going to sell now that the IP is a known quantity. Word of mouth has made the game extremely popular, and now they won't just be a PlayStation exclusive at launch. And if you look here, the article then provides this post from X, which says, Shift Up released a chart showing that Stellar Blade is the best-selling PlayStation exclusive single-player PC launch in history. It reached 192,000 peak concurrent players on Steam at launch, and it is over 2.5 times more than the previous record. But not everyone was thrilled with this news. IGN put out an article immediately afterward trying to discredit, or maybe a better way of phrasing that is to say minimize or trivialize the achievements of Shift Up. They try to couch their irritation that the game is so successful in neutral-sounding language, but let's be real here. Stellar Blade's popularity stands as a testament to the failures of the game journalists working at dog shit outlets like this to chase out all the chuds from the hobby. Anyhow, here is their article where the headline says, Stellar Blade dev hails its performance on Steam, but new research suggests the novelty of playing PlayStation games on PC is wearing off. First of all, I have to point out that the sorts of research that these people use is typically pretty awful. That leads to headlines like this one, where game journalists claim that old women play video games just as much as dudes, but what they never want to cite is stuff like this here. I've used this chart many times, but this is a survey conducted by Nintendo late last year where they asked 600,000 of their Nintendo Switch users about their demographic information, and at the bottom you can see that 86% of respondents were dudes, which is why a concept like Stellar Blade works so damn well. It is tailored for a male audience, and that is what gamers typically are. Anyhow, the article reads, Stellar Blade, Shift Up's blockbuster action RPG, has done wonderfully well on PC, having launched first on PlayStation. According to the developer's presentation to investors, Stellar Blade's PC release sold more than 1 million copies in 3 days, sold a total of 3 million copies across both PS5 and PC, and has been recommended by 98% of its PC users, boasting an overwhelmingly positive user score on Steam. That means Shift Up claimed that Stellar Blade is now the best-selling PlayStation exclusive launch IP in history on PC, eclipsing games like Ghost of Tsushima, God of War, Marvel Spider-Man, Horizon Zero Dawn, and The Last of Us in terms of peak concurrent users on Steam. Helldivers 2, of course, remains in pole position across both single and multiplayer games, and by some considerable margin too, estimated to have sold 12.7 million copies, but they were specifically talking about single-player games, IGN, and also Helldivers 2 was released on PC at the game's initial launch, so the comparison is not exactly apples to oranges, is it? So let's stay on target and not change the subject. But they can't help themselves, they will say anything to try to put a damper on this game's success. Case in point, they wrote this next here. Interestingly, though, a new report from Alinea Analytics via Push Square estimates that while Sony has made an astonishing $1.5 billion from Steam since it started bringing its first-party titles to Valve's platform, this has mostly been buoyed by the initial rollout, with sales of sequels, think Horizon Forbidden West and God of War Ragnarok, slowing down. Analysts suggest this shows the novelty is wearing off. Now, I have an alternative explanation, but let's read the next bit of the article before I dive into it. It says next, all of Sony's major franchises have already landed on PC, the audience that was once excited to experience these games for the first time has largely been served. Later releases naturally face smaller potential audiences, and our estimates clearly show this, analyst Reese Elliott wrote. We launch-aligned our Steam estimates for God of War and its sequel, God of War Ragnarok. We found that God of War sold 2.5 million copies after 427 days on Steam, over 2.5 times more copies than Ragnarok sold in the same time frame. Also, 13% of God of War's Steam players also played Ragnarok on Steam. The same trend can be applied to Marvel's Spider-Man sequel, and let's be perfectly clear about why this actually is. These sequels that they are talking about suck shit through a straw. Spider-Man 2 was progressive dog shit. The Last of Us 2 was progressive dog shit. God of War Ragnarok, you guessed it, progressive dog shit. It's funny how they use this study from Alinea Analytics to try to trivialize Stellar Blade's accomplishments, but in actuality, what this shows is that Stellar Blade absolutely blew up this narrative. To be clear, if Spider-Man 2, as an example, was as universally appealing as the original Spider-Man game, it would have sold about as well as the first game. And the same goes for all those other franchises. What you are seeing here is gamers checking out on all these bad sequels. All these PlayStation games have seen dwindling interest, but then, bam! Stellar Blade comes out and hits a home run, and it's very obvious what the distinction is between this game and the others. And that is why we see this sort of angry headline here written by the outlet The Gamer. As if one console of Gooners wasn't enough, Stellar Blade 2 will reportedly be multi-platform. Make no mistake, these game journalists despise Eve, they despise Stellar Blade. It is a threat to their assertion that the gaming industry needs to accommodate female gamers in order to succeed. But as for me, I find it funny as they flounder around trying to figure out the best way to narratively handle Stellar Blade. The thing is though, making a game like this, which appeals to the male audience, was always bound to be a wild success. But I'm gonna leave it there. The game journalists can't decide whether to try to claim Stellar Blade as their own or condemn it as the ultimate evil in gaming. Drop your thoughts on all this into the comment section below, and we will talk there. Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your Admiral is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.